But most of the stuff off through here, kind of working with the contours and trying to follow those.
So as we develop this further, would there be possibilities of taking like walkways down into the ravines and things of that nature? You don't want to do that?
We do have a crossing kind of up towards sort of that southeast corner where the trails kind of come down. There would be a crossing kind of down in that area. And then I think...
Yeah, actually, traversing the site through the kind of gully here is actually kind of the lowest part of this site. Almost everything up here is kind of upland banking. But I did personally walk all of this site with the trails where they are right now. There's nothing too extreme that you would have to, that you would even come across, as long as you kind of slope it right and work with the grid.
The initial concept and ideas, though, with like kind of that purple trail over by the shelter and those trails up in there, taking advantage of getting views down into the ravine. Paul, we do work with Paul on some of the setbacks as far as along the raccoon areas and that, where we want to kind of keep trails sort of back a little ways. But the idea is to kind of create sort of a nice trail system that takes advantage of those views into the ravines and some of the uniqueness of the site.
For hikers, sometimes it's, they like to walk down and up, get some of that,
Get a little workout.
get a little bit of workout
Okay.
in there. So I would consider as part of the trail concept, some trails that, maybe a little bridge over the ravine, things of that nature, so you can get down there and take advantage of some of that the natural features.
No, that's good point.
Right.
Kind of continuing along that, the proposed trail system will traverse predominantly on existing bridle trails. These trails will allow for a variety of hiking and walking experience with both upland and lowland topography. Areas for parking and site amenities have also been chosen in collaboration with the NRM department. These areas are void of rare species and our community and/or communities, and in general are highly disturbed habitats. Access and future connections to the Cleveland Metro Parks trail system with the LRM property in a unique and exciting position, as well as the entire jump park district. As we can see, kind of the existing composition of the site with 8.2% wetlands, 16.8% old fields and the scrub areas, and 75% of that is forested canopy. With this master plan, the only area we would be eliminating from is the old fields and kind of scrub communities, and that would be the proposed infrastructure would only come up to 2.7% of the overall site. That's including parking, trail systems, building structures. Kind of looking at those trail systems again, we do have, this would be a decent amount of aggregate trail for our park system, 2.7 miles. Kind of that paved trail system, ADA accessibility is a little over half a mile. And then boardwalks, we do have on this close to 250 linear feet, and that is multiple bridge systems throughout this ravine area, and possibly a nice kind of overlook area at this large wetland on the northwest side of the park.
Dan, one quick thing. On the connection kind of down to the Cleveland Metro Parks Trail, initially that opens us up to an additional almost 2 miles of actually existing trail. And there is a small section that Cleveland still needs to kind of connect from this trail to South Chagrin. But that would open this trail network up to close to 13 more miles of equestrian trails and some other trail systems that, just by our trail system, it would allow for much larger hiking opportunities, equestrian opportunities. So.
Yeah, so with this connection to the Cleveland Metro Parks, we'd actually be accessing with their connection in the future all the way to the Idaho Valley National Park, down to Akron and Peninsula.
How does that work with First Energy as far as their lines? Obviously, they have a pretty significant width to service those lines. Do we have to negotiate with them for some type of easement or permission to access, or?
Well, right now on this part of the property, kind of over in that corner, we do have access in they're comfortable with that. We would probably, usually they're focused in on maintaining access to their lines.
Sure.
So the existing drive, and then we also work with them, they're usually concerned about how tall things are underneath the lines. Long term, if we want to look at that corridor connections.
Yeah, that's all I was concerned about. I'm very aware of how they, have some lines crossing several properties, so I know how they come in and clean up. But my concern is, what do we need for access from here to the Cuyahoga Parks? I mean, would we need some type of agreements with First Energy?
Well, the Cuyahoga Park,
Connection.
that's actually, the existing Cleveland Metro Parks Trail continues down. If that gets this last little section connected to South Chagrin, then from there it starts to move through, Cleveland Metro Parks. Summit is working on some trails coming up from Twinsburg in that way. So it's kind of a larger network of multiple park district trails network that would be connected into. The very small connection that would get into South Chagrin opens up just the trail system at South Chagrin Reservation, where you have continuous trails.
Thank you.
South Chagrin Reservation connects to Bedford Reservation, which connects to the Cuyahoga Valley. So that's kind of looking at just our trail system. Kind of a zoom in of those areas. It's kind of hard to read. But we do see that connection to the Cleveland Metro Parks Trail on this portion of the trail. The existing access drive will be developing into a small parking area with maybe a small shelter. Just not enclosed, just an open shelter. And then kind of overlook down to the wetland area. The main drive over here, you would see your separation of horse and truck and trailer parking kind of on this side with your automobile parking on this side, and kind of the whole shelter area here with integrating stormwater management throughout this site, possibly areas for the community to gather, community gardens, or whatnot right there. Kind of a zoom into those areas a little bit closer, just kind of see our internal concepts of that shelter space taking place here with the stormwater management areas, recreation playing into that, the shelter space, and community gathering areas.
For this shelter, kind of the concept is a little bit more of an enclosed shelter where it could be opened up for use all year round, but still having that ability to be enclosed in the winter months. We do see a lot of use in our shelters throughout the year. It would be a little bit more kind of along the concept of like Sunnybrook or Orchard Hills, where it's more the tube heating, as far as the shelter. But concept-wise, we like the idea of maybe more of the kind of garage doors where it would open up. Long-term, it's a little bit more kind of maintenance-friendly as far as we can go in, power wash stuff off and, keep it a little bit more simpler. And then same thing with the playground, kind of the idea of, at our shelters, we see a lot of use, graduation parties, picnics, family gatherings, offering playgrounds and some opportunities there for larger groups to utilize the shelter in that area for events.
When it comes to recreation, I don't know, if so, did you go to Penitentiary Glen and see what they're doing over there with the kids and stuff? It's pretty impressive. They really a lot of different types of activities for different age groups. So I would really.
I think we could definitely integrate some of that into the site concept and kind of get away from the boring standard area.
That would be fantastic.
Something that would integrate into the site.
You're talking about population. You're talking about the good portion of Jug County population living in this area. I think that we should have a real serious look at, what can we do to enhance the use of the park, and again, allow for families to use them. Young families are going to come to the park if there's, small rock walls and things of that they can use, little tunnel stuff. And I think Lake Metro Parks, they did a magnificent job over there at Penitentiary Glen. And I think we're behind times. So, sorry.
The next slide and the last slide is actually showing that other kind of shelter and event space with the connectivity of the site. A smaller shelter, 15 to 20 people, and a general overview of kind of that wetland area on the site that exists now.
Right.
And that's all we have now for the master plan.
Thank you.
And included there's kind of preliminary costs based on this master plan, we're at $950,000. Really what we're looking at this point is 40 projects to really bring into fruition in 2018. This would be the point where we start going out and getting engineers and architects involved. So really